This is a gorgeous quilt called Spring Comes Around. It has a great border and the dimension on it is just fantastic. We'll show you how to make Spring Comes Around. It's in our book too. Again, we begin by making our dimensional pieces by putting a Xerox copy of our pattern on top of 2 pieces of fabric that are right side together. And sometimes they're stacked with batting, sometimes not. Sometimes it may just be your personal preference of a more dimensional look or a more traditional applique look. And then we'll cut on the dash line, take your paper out, turn them right side out. So this little quilt has 4 sections that are sewn together, and you piece each section separate. So this is where I have placed my number 1 right side away, and I need to know where to place the first set of leaves. So I'm going to machine baste where that leaf goes into the seam in between 1 and 2. And that gives me this basted line on this side. Then I stack 2 leaves together, and I'm going to place them 1/4 of an inch past that line. Then I'm going to take a piece of background fabric, place it right side down so the bulk of the fabric is opposite where I'm covering, turn it over and sew that line, and it will fold back, and this will of course open, give you your leaf. Then I'm going to come over and machine baste where this second set of leaves meet the seam, and that will transfer it to this side. Then I'll place my second set of leaves in the same way. Put a piece of fabric, background fabric, right sides together so the bulk is opposite where I'm covering. Turn it over so that whole line, open it back, and then I've got my block to this position. Then I'm going to turn it over and hold it up to the light and mark one of these lines. Really does, I do the inside line. Then I'm going to baste across here where the flower meets this seam. Okay, now I've cut piece of fabric bias, so it's on a 45-degree angle, and I fold it wrong sides together. And then I'm going to put it along this little marked edge and sew 1/4 of an inch, so it's the same exact seam allowance all the way along. Turn it over, or push the fabric over like that and press it. Because it's bias, it will stretch. And then across this folded line, I'm going to blind stitch. All right, now we've blind stitched that stem down, and it looks so cool when it's done. Then we're going to put the part of the flower 1/4 of an inch above that basting, and then the petals, and then the center of the flower. Now if I want to stuff this center a little bit more, that's fine. Just keep it away from the seam because it gets bulky. Then I'm going to put a piece of background fabric right side down so the bulk of the fabric's opposite this area. Turn it over and sew that whole line, and it will flip back and make our flower. So here we've put 4 sections together, and they're really cool how the little flower follows around the circle. This one is just a simple little 3 petals that's placed along that line instead of the ones that we did that had, this part is different. So it does have the little green part, but then it has petals above. This one has 2 petals. So see what a cool, it's the same pattern, but you get such a different look. And then here's this one. It's a really cool thing that's folded out. You can kind of see how it's folded out, and it makes a really cool kind of tulip-like flower. And here's the one that we showed you. So they look really neat when you put 4 together. And I hope this tutorial has really helped you.